Good morning, Frank. You look sharp, buddy.
Hey, Jerry, thanks. That's a nice compliment.
Are we gonna have the broken on record on?
Yes, he is. He's already here. He was the first one in.
Oh, okay. If you can hear me, I have a question for him, so maybe you would know. Section 8. When you have rental and people call you and they tell you, do you accept section 8? What should be the answer?
That's you're talking to Chris Vode. Is that who? So who is this?
Yeah, hi, Chris. Good morning. This is Joe.
Hi, Joe. So your answer. So I will actually answer this in great detail offline. So shoot me a quick email or text me because this, as you may or may not be aware, there were. So Section 8's always been a very hot topic in the rental arena, and with some new legislation that hit the books in 2024, there's an entire one sheet on this topic that I'd like to go over with you, so I don't give you a short answer that doesn't answer it properly.
Well, the reason I asked this question, I don't want it to be only for me. Yesterday, I was conversing with someone, and they noticed that there are people going around and intentionally calling agent that they have rental and ask them, and
yes,
try to sue them. So I'm assuming you're aware of it. So with that in mind, I really would like for you to have a conversation later on when we have all the agents here regarding.
Yeah, well, yes. So by the way, this goes to a lot of topics. I'm actually so that person or those people are probably what's known as shoppers. And there are shoppers for fair housing, which is probably what this is around. So again, the reason I don't want to give an off-the-cuff answer is because there's a lot of detail that I'm not sure how familiar your population is with the changes that occurred this year. So what I'd be happy, and I would be more than happy to set up a time to go through many of those practices that have been implemented, including but not limited to Section 8. So I've made a note here, and I will get something going very quickly because there's going to be shoppers on a myriad of topics, including and not limited to what you just talked about, Joe. But on top of that, there's also going to be shoppers on some of this NAR stuff as well. So anyhow, so we'll stop it there and let Frank take back over.
All right. Thanks.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna get this party started. Everybody's slowly trickling in. It's this first week of orientation and school registration for a lot of people. So if you're noticing less people, that's probably why. That's where I just came from. I have a very ingenuitive son who kind of took it over on his own and kind of did his own thing. So I was able to get here on time, which is that's super cool. All right, so let's start off with tell me something good, something positive, something business or personal that has happened that's positive the last week. Anybody? Oh, raise your hand. I don't know. That qualifies. You move. It's like an auctioneer. Like 50, 50, do I have 50, 55, 55, 60, right there, 60, 65. Yeah, what?
I did the peer-to-peer event.
Peer-to-peer event. Tell me about that.
It's part of Fiesta Hermosa, so like 7 o'clock they have paddlers. And then at 9 o'clock they have about 2,000 swimmers.
Nice.
And the 2.5 miles. Hermosa.
I thought peer-to-peer is in person to person. She meant peer-to-peer is in dock peer to dock peer. I got it. That's pretty cool. How far was it?
Like 2.3 miles.
Man, in the ocean. That's fun stuff. That's pretty cool. You do that though.
I hadn't been swimming as much, so I was like pretty up 10 minutes slower than us.
How many people did it?
Couple thousand.
Oh wow. Do you meet people when you do that, and like do you like network or connect with people or?
Yeah. There are people I know from like Home with the Ocean that I go to sometimes on Saturday. South Squad.
That's awesome.
I thought it would be cool.
Good job. Good job. That's fun. Peer-to-peer swimming in the ocean. Anybody else? Something good? Yes, sir.
Interest rates are coming down and they're gonna be down, hopefully.
They are. They are. You don't usually see interest rates move this close to an election, so that's very interesting that that's happening. And I'm wondering who's behind it. Like, who thinks it's gonna benefit them to get them to drop the interest rates? So that is good. And I would say that, somebody did reach out to one of us, one of our clients reached out to one of us after that happened to say, hey, we're thinking about getting back into it. So when that happened to me, I'm like, oh, that's actually, we probably should have reached out to more people and talked to more people that are interested in buying, because it came down enough to where it could put people that were priced out of the market back in the market. So I would suggest like reaching out to your people and talking to them and say, hey, did you hear about the interest rate that moved? We're gonna talk about that here in the team meeting a little bit later. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
One of my listings gonna be, in the box showed 911. And our, listing sign gonna be in there. Just they're gonna remove my phone number, but the Keller William and my name gonna be, in the, that segment.
You gotta let me know when that is so we can capture that. We'll throw it up in the team meeting. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
I would love that. That's really awesome.
At first they wanna remove it, and then I schmoozed with the guy a lot and says, I have to call ABCC or, whatever company was behind it, and see if they would allow us to do it, so, yeah.
What's the show?
911, it's on Fox.
They call them, they say, whose sign is it? They said, Joe Soleimani, do not remove that sign. You're not allowed to remove that sign. I can't tell you why. But if it's him, it has to stay there. Persian Mafia.
Exactly.
My thingy's not working. All right, let's start this off. How you doing, sir? Paul, good to see you. All right, so I saw this quote and it really spoke to me. I talk about this all the time. Think progress, not perfection. I just ran into this with an agent. They put together a flyer and they wanted the flyer to be perfect. They put together the business card, they wanted the business card to be perfect. They gotta do something, they have to do all this stuff, they have to get ready to get things done. And I'm here to tell you that is not the right way to do it. Business moves fast, and if you're not moving fast in business, then business will pass you by. That is just a fact. You can ask anybody that's built a business, scaling as fast as possible is important. There used to be a mantra in Silicon Valley, like you have to break it fast. And so what that means is that in Silicon Valley, they would build technology, and the only way they could scale very quickly is that if they had people to use the technology and break it so they could fix it, break it so they could fix it. And so the quicker they broke it, which is basically, they're gonna fail. Once they fail, they'll figure out how they failed and they'll figure out how to succeed past that. And then they'll fail again and they'll figure out how to succeed past that. You're not going to create a flyer and get a client, get 10 clients, get 5 clients. It's just not gonna happen right away. But if you move quickly, you will get past the obstacles that are your constraints to get you where you need to go faster if you move quicker and be willing to fail more. It's not about perfection. Nobody's perfect. Everybody sucks. And it's like, I always tell people, like, when you're looking at like artists like Beyonce sucked at one time. She was terrible. Like her first song, when she first started, like she's written and sung and done thousands of songs before you heard her do anything. Most artists will do thousands of songs, write thousands of songs before there's that one hit. You'll talk to thousands of clients before you get that one that buys multiple properties from you. It's never a one-hit wonder and then a second hit wonder, and then it just never works that way. So you can't work on getting it perfect every time. You have to just think progress, move forward, move forward, move forward, move forward. If you trip and fall, that's fine. Just get up and then keep going, then get up and keep going. You're going to have many obstacles in your way. You want as many obstacles as possible because at some point you're going to be able to jump all these obstacles because you've hit them already, you've dealt with it, and you're going to be able to scale to a point to where you're not going to have to deal with obstacles anymore. You can have other people deal with them, and you're going to be able to move fast. So I like this. Ryan Holiday has many, many books. One of the books that this quote is from is called, well, he does a book that I read every day called The Daily Stoic. But one of his favorite books by me was called The Obstacle is the Way. I would 100% recommend you read that. If you're in real estate, it really kind of speaks to that industry. So check that out. One of my favorite quotes. Oh, it started working.
Sorry, what was thinking obstacle is not the way,
The obstacle is the way.
the obstacle is. the way.
Yes, by Ryan Holiday. So Julie, happy birthday on 8/5, 2 days ago. I think Julie's on here. Julie on there?
Yeah.
Julie, happy birthday. I hope you had a fantastic birthday. How are
Thank
you?
I'm good. I'm house sitting, so
Well, that's fun. Did you do anything fun for your birthday?
just went out to dinner with friends. That's about
Any
it.
Any
Oh,
place fun?
where did we go? No, I mean, no. I was in Asia for a month, so that was my big
Well,
birthday thing.
Oh, yeah, there you go. You had, that was your fun right there. That's good.
Yeah. Thank you.
Happy birthday. Congratulations. Keep
Thank you so
celebrating.
much.
So
Huh?
celebrate the entire month. That's what I do. I celebrate the entire month as much as I possibly can.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. All right, we have a broker moment with Chris. I know Chris is on here and we had Joe already asked him a question. Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulously, thank you. Interesting, Frank, you said the pace of business and moving fast. I agree with that 100%, and I've always agreed with that. And I would say in the current climate, that quote applies to all of us now more than ever. As most all of you should know by now, that there are dates that are fast approaching for all he said in air quotes, fun to begin in our world. And by the way, after the team meeting last week, Tracy reached out to me. I had a couple of questions about the BRBC. We talked through that. I talked to her via text a couple of days later, and lo and behold, she got a BRBC signed with a nice compensation rate. So I wanted to say congratulations to Tracy if she's in the room somewhere today. So great work on that. So right quick, what I want to touch on is we have some upcoming dates, two of which, one is tomorrow, which is the 8th. You should all have notification of that. I'll make sure that if you don't, that we get that back out to everyone today. I'm largely going to be doing open Q&A around questions as we approach the changes in the multiple listing service. We'll do the same thing the morning of the 12th, which will be roughly 24 hours prior to the big changes being implemented. And then next week, later in the week on the 15th, you'll be getting this date. I will be doing a 7 steps to a great buyer presentation to help you articulate and demonstrate your value in the marketplace so that you can get BRBCs signed for compensation, higher, not lower compensation. And then we'll have another training on the 20th. So if you've not done so already, as we've iterated and reiterated, be sure that you are using the disclosure and modification forms to modify any existing agreements that were essentially done prior to the release of the forms last month on 7/24. Again, remember those documents are designed to disclose what's happening so the customer understands the need to then modify the existing agreements. So that's my quick moment. And Frank, I know this is my second time chatting with your group and our group, I should say. So I don't know if you want, if we want to take a question or two, I'm great. But if Frank, I know you've got a meeting we're running here, so I'm here to serve you and your group.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being on here. Does anybody have a question for the broker?
Yeah, when is the class tomorrow? Is that?
The class tomorrow? What is that?
The bold person.
Oh, bold. Yeah, we have tomorrow's the
Oh,
first.
if you have, yes, go to bold.
Yeah. So I have a number on the board here, and I know everybody on Zoom can't really see it. It says 47. Does anybody know what 47 is? If I said that number out loud, would anybody have an idea what that is?
One less than 48.
That is a true statement.
Number of bold rules.
No, that is not. So 47 is a percentage of agents in the United States that have done 0 deals in the last 12 months. So let that sink in for a second. 47% of the agents, which out of 1.5 million, have done 0 deals in the last 12 months. That's 705,000 agents have done 0 deals. Does that shock anybody?
Yeah.
Does that shock you? Yeah. I'm gonna tell you that I think the reason that is partially, not all of it, because it can't be all of it, but partially is because there's lack of action out there. There's lack of just doing the work, and I don't even know what else to say. It's a little shocking to me because the number's so big, but there's just lack of action happening out there in the real estate world. And the reason I say this is because all this stuff is changing in August. Do you know what's changing in August? The paperwork. The way we do business is not really changing.
Yep.
Like the only thing that's really changing in the world is that our clients think that they have choices when they've always had choices. They've always had options. It's always been negotiable. That's never changed. The option to offer buyer compensation is still there. I think, and I have this huge conspiracy theory about business and real estate and government. We can get into that. That's a whole different meeting that's way more than an hour. But I feel like somebody that was way smarter than me, way up high in the government somewhere or outside the government, you know, with something that sounds like BlackRock, you know, said, hey, you know what? We don't like the real estate industries and we don't like realtors, and we kind of want to, how do we mess them up? How do we mess them up? You know what? Why don't we do this? Let's not change anything. Let's just confuse them. And we're going to confuse them by suing them, not doing a very good job of it, winning. And then let's change all the paperwork around and say things and make them do things differently, but we'll keep it the same. Let's confuse the shit out of them. See what happens there. That's what it kind of feels like is happening.
What's the outcome?
The outcome is that a bunch of us are going to leave the business. A bunch of us are not going to make money, because this is the thing, is that we've been doing business the same way for so many years that when you sit in front of a client, the client's expectation was that commission was 5 or 6%. You didn't have to have a very large conversation or negotiate the buyer agent commission because it was just a thing. It's still a thing. But now the consumers feel that, oh, no, wait, I can negotiate. Well, you could negotiate before. Now we're put in a position to where we have to explain it. And a whole bunch of us suck at doing that.
Yeah.
And I have agents. Go ahead.
No, Frank, I guess I didn't intend to interrupt you. I agree 100%. And what I would suggest, and this is what, and you heard me say this last week, and I'm going to continue to repeat a lot of these things. The mechanism for which the way we've been paid is changing, but what Frank is saying is 100% correct, right? There are some nuances to this new world, and yes, there's some ways we need to be able to explain it and articulate it to the buying and selling public. And when we do that, they will recognize, because I've done this in the field with real live potential buyers and sellers. They understand it. That's why one of the reasons we're doing so much training over this next week and month and few months is so that you are all so well versed, more so than those other million, whatever the number is that Frank mentioned there, that are doing a very round number in terms of transactions. So the more we know this inside and out, and it can just become your conversational flow, that's what's gonna win the day when you're doing your lead generation, your consults, whatever the case may be. So Frank, you are spot on, and the mechanism is being broken, but fundamentally, most of the transactions that we do are the same flow as before. Just the mechanism for payment is becoming different.
Yeah, I think that it's very telling on everything that's going on, because like I said, nothing's really changing. Just somebody out there is trying to confuse us, and it's going to mess us up. It's very interesting with the lawsuits. Like, everybody got sued, right? Do you know who didn't get sued? There's a major real estate company out there that you guys don't think is a real estate company, but it is one. It is the largest real estate company in the United States. Zillow didn't get sued. They're, if you go to your MLS, they are part of the MLS. They are part of your board. They have a real estate license in California, and they have it in most of the major cities in most of the United States, and they are considered one of the largest brokerages. They're a brokerage. They did not get sued. Is that coincidence? I don't know. That seems too weird to not be a coincidence. That seems weird. I think that we really have to pay attention to what's going on around us and realize that it seems like we're getting power taken away from us when we've never lost the power. We're just being confused by the situation. We're being confused by all this paperwork and the amount of contracts. The changes in the contracts are crazy. And I started thinking about this because Tracy had a buyer. She went out to show the buyer this listing in Santa Clarita. We get there, the agent could not open the lockbox, could not get the door open. Now, the agent was not local. The agent was from Orange County. Now, I'm sorry, if you're from Orange County, how are you gonna service a listing? Like, how are you gonna do the best job for your client if they're in Santa Clarita and you're in Orange County? And then she shows up and, you know, Tracy's very kind and tries to ask to help her out or whatever. And she says, well, you know, you are offering, because everything in the MLS has changed now. And she says, well, you are offering 2% concession for a buyer agent commission. And she goes, what? No, I'm not. We're not offering anything. The seller said they wanted to wait and see how things went. Tracy's like, no, it says right here. And she made a mistake. How is your client going to feel if you made that mistake? How can you not negotiate and say, hey, if you want more, if they had a line out the door to show this property, how are you not going to be able to explain, do you want to sell your house? Do you want to have more exposure? Because that's how you sell your house. Your house sells because a lot of people see it, and then a lot of people come and a lot of people will submit offers if it's priced right. If you don't want anybody to see your house, then don't offer money to other people. That would be my negotiating strategy if I went on a listing appointment and they're like, I don't want to pay the buyer agent. I'm like, great, do you not want to sell your house? Tracy doesn't take me on appointments, right, my taste. But I'm just saying, like, not a lot has changed, but we're changing based on this environment, which is, in my opinion, set up to confuse the shit out of everybody for one sole purpose, and that is to extract money out of the real estate agent's hands. That's my conspiracy. I will not keep going. Yes, ma'am.
You know which companies?
Most of the major companies have been sued.
Who are the plaintiffs?
Oh yeah, no, there's a list of them. There's a whole thing. If you go to Inman News and you look through there, you can find you can find this transcript, the plaintiffs and all that stuff. You can find all that stuff in there. But it was, in my opinion, it's something that's been contrived. And a lot of it doesn't make sense and nobody can make it make sense. Yes. Oh, Tracy, what do you got?
I was just gonna say, somewhat to defend the agent that had it in the MLS, because I just I felt for her. I find it interesting that our MLS didn't make the changes in their MLS the same day that we had to make our changes, which is causing even more confusion because the field for putting in the buyer's agent commission is still there. It's just kind of like, I'm hoping in a month, everything will be kind of like figured out and there'll be some sort of system in place. But I just wanted to say that because I felt bad for her. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, no problem.
So, hey, Frank, can I weigh in on that? Some Tracy said and you both said. So on that, agreed 100%. So in a perfect world, I think it would have been great if had they aligned the dates. And unfortunately, that hasn't happened. It's been all over the map. The only thing we know is it's no later than the 17th, and for most, it's going to be a week from yesterday, right? So when we wake up, there'll be zero in. So the things that I want to continue to talk with all of you about are the things that we do know. So that we do know that once the mechanism in the MLS is broken, and there are no more offers of compensation, you must have a written agreement, i.e., a BRBC, signed in order to get paid. Okay. Now, when you get to and what Frank said about the reality that you're going to attract more buyers, agents, and their buyers with some sort of incentive, no different than when they go to work, Most people get paid to go to work, and if their employer said, hey, show up to work tomorrow, and you don't get paid, there probably wouldn't be much workforce because there's no incentive. So so just understand though that the mechanism will be broken in the MLS. So you're still, if the property you're showing is still in the MLS and it's not been broken, then you are covered under the current offer of compensation through the MLS rules. But once that mechanism goes away, you must have a document signed from your buyer indicating the amount of compensation and all those other fun things. Obviously, the BRBC is the way to effectuate that. There's a shorter version. Again, we'll be covering some of those things on upcoming episodes. So, but Frank, what everything Frank's saying here is 100% correct. Not that he had me on to say that, but no, the reality of it is we all get in this business for two reasons generally: income and flexibility. So if you have all the flexibility, but you have no income, most people don't necessarily love the business so much, they'll do it for free. And I think it's okay to have those conversations with the buying and selling public, because just as they are paid to go to work, we like to be paid as well. So you can be as tactful as you see fit, but make sure that you're getting agreements signed. We already had one in another market center where an agent did not get a signed agreement, and there is no agreement through the MLS to pay the commission. Fortunately, it looks like we're going to get a little bit of money out of the other side just because of their good graces, but we must have signed compensation agreements.
And it would be a shame to see you guys work for free. And
Yeah.
then like if a lawsuit comes because of that, and you're gonna be in a
Yeah.
lawsuit covered by E&O insurance, but you know, you're gonna get sued for something you didn't even get paid on, huh?
It is or it is not covered.
It should be covered, yeah. But I mean, the fact of the matter is that you don't wanna work for free, so you gotta get the paperwork signed. Yes,
I've been talking to a few agents here in the office and we're all confused, of course, totally confused. But there was one thing that was important on the PRBC, sorry about that. Let's say that we don't want to put the amount on where it says, for a buyer agrees to pay broker as follows, and we put 0, what happens?
then you get zero.
Well,
if
that's
they-
yeah. You get paid a round number. Yeah, you get paid 0.
That's what we thought, and we've been discussing it among ourselves, I'm not gonna say who it was, but a few agents here, we're all confused, by the way, it's not.
You should put the number that you wanna get, because if you put 2.5% on there and the concession is 3%, you get 2.5%.
Correct.
You don't get 3%.
The concern here is that the buyers there's gonna be a lot of pushback from the buyers because it says, literally, it says that the
Yeah.
buyer will pay me right here. So we need to address this.
Well,
Yeah, so the way I would handle it, with the buyer is like, this is, so if, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to get the seller to pay for this. If the seller doesn't pay and we don't enter into a contract, and we don't sign off on the contract, you don't owe me anything. I cannot collect 2.5% on something we don't close. If you're not comfortable with whatever that situation is, we can cancel this buyer agent agreement. I would put together my own personal addendum between me and them saying that if you do not have the ability to pay me, then we do not have to move forward with the buyer agent contract. I would do that from me to them, just so we feel comfortable. And that is not to say, like, I don't know what Chris would think about that, other brokers, what the board, I
Yeah.
don't care what anyone would think about that. I would put that as a contract between me and them so they feel comfortable. But at the end of the day, it's our job to explain to buyers, say, listen, this is the current climate. If I write 0 on this and we go and you accept an offer, then my compensation is 0 from that person. And I can't work for free. And so you have to figure out a way to talk to whoever you're talking to, because it's gonna be different with everybody on how that's gonna work. Yes,
Here's another question.
So Frank,
hold on.
Do you submit, when you're submitting an offer, do you submit the BRBC along with all their documents, along with the offer, or you just keep it to yourself to?
Yeah.
that is-
so Frank, can I weigh in on a couple of these things right quick?
Yes, and then can you address her question after that?
I'm going to address that question as part of this. So that's why the understanding of the BRBC is going to be so critical to everyone. Okay, so there's a provision that's already built in. So by the way, Frank, you might be really skilled at creating language. My concern greater is if we have the population create language, we could create ambiguity and blah blah blah, blah, right? So if just like and Trace, I hope you're okay if I say that. She called me last week. We talked through some things, and I said, well, here's what the contract says. So in the BRBC, there's a provision that addresses the issue of the buyer's inability to pay you. Okay, so it's already built into the BRBC in paragraph 2, where you'll check a box and indicate that they do not have the money to pay you. And then in paragraph 9B of the BRBC, it then further states specifically what Frank says, that basically, if we can't get this, if you can't get the seller to pay it, then all bets are off. You don't owe the money. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you use the BRBC correctly, there would be no need to create additional language. Now, to the question in terms of providing the agreement, so when you write the offer, you're going to write the offer checking if at your client's instruction. So you're going to check paragraph 3G3 of the RPA, and 3G3 indicates that you are attaching the SPBB, the seller payment of buyers to buyer broker. Okay. And on that form, it indicates the amount of compensation that you are requesting the seller pay. And as Frank iterated, you cannot collect under the terms of the settlement more than what's on your buyer agreement. So let's say hypothetically, your buyer agreement says 2.5, and your seller or your buyer instructs you to write the RPA by checking 3G3 and including the SPBB and requesting that the seller pay the buyer's obligation of 2.5%. Okay. Now, then if they request a copy of your agreement, your buyer agreement, so you don't have to provide, just arbitrarily provide it. So you don't. And then what the SPBB says is that you would provide them the last page of the BRBC that shows the amount that you've agreed to. Okay, so those mechanisms are already built into the BRBC and the yeah. So you're going to hear me say over and over again that the answer is in the forms.
Do you send the form when you write the offer?
You don't have to. You're not compelled to. If you choose to, knock yourself out, but you're not compelled to. You're going to send over the SPBB, the seller payment of buyer broker, which in that agreement shows the amount, and then it also addresses the other things that we're discussing here. Now, by the way, if a listing broker asked me, hey, would you provide a copy of your agreement or the last page up front? Candidly, I wouldn't have a problem doing that, because I'm not that concerned about it, because if everything's aligning, there's no reason not to, that I can think about. But you don't have to just arbitrarily send it.
A lot of questions are happening with a lot of different agents, because all of it's hypothetical at this point. Nobody's actually written an offer. Nobody's written the new RPA, the new buyer.
Right.
Nobody's done a lot of it.
I just got one, that's
Yeah.
why I'm.
What I would suggest to everybody, not just people have to have business, Brent, everybody, go write contracts. Go find a list. It doesn't, I don't care if it's yours, I don't care what. Write an offer on it, write a listing on it, write it down, read the contract, figure out if you have questions on the contract. If you have a question, email our broker, ask me. Like, start writing stuff and learn the What was that?
Can we just have a class on that to go over the contract really fast, to write it?
Yeah, we're gonna have that. But this, I'm trying, so my thing is this is how you learn the contract, is if you write one, and you write one, and you write one, and you read it ad nauseum to where you know it better than everybody else, that's going to help you get there. I can teach you a class on a contract and go through it line by line, but I can guarantee you, when you get in front of a client and you write it, it's gonna look different. The client's gonna want something different, something's gonna change, something's gonna be different. It's your job as a professional to know the contract and know what everything means in there, and when you don't, I can guarantee you're gonna go through it, you go, what does that mean? Ask a question. What does that mean? Ask a question. And then it's never gonna be perfect, but you need to absorb the information. Go ahead, Chris.
So Frank, what I'm trying to do is best I can for all of you. Okay, knowing that we're all drinking out of the proverbial fire hose. Okay, what I don't know whenever I enter into an agent population is how well the population understands what was in the contract before we got to this new change. Okay, so if you're somebody who knew the contract inside and out, you would know, for example, 3G3 has been in the contract for some time now. With all that said, what I'm trying to do between the Zooms and everything else I'm doing, answering texts and phone calls, is trying to get you these answers so that you have you're able to use that bold law we talked about last week, that clarity equals power. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little walkthrough on a little product called Loom, and I'm going to send a video out that you all be able to literally walk through. And I'm not going to go through the whole RPA, because unless you're new, you would know that contract already anyhow. I'm going to literally show you how simple it is to do what I'm talking about here. Once you have a BRBC sign, I'm going to do a little video for that too. You would simply check the box at your buyer's instruction in 3G3 and attach the SPBB. And I guarantee you, everyone on this Zoom and everyone in the room, when you look at that simple language in 3G3, because it's literally one sentence, and then you look at the SPBB, the seller payment of buyer broker, it's literally fill in the blank. And with the exception of the buyer and seller and the property address at the top of the form, there's only one item to fill in on that form, and that's the amount that you're going to ask the seller to pay. That's it. So that's literally the seminar. That's how easy it is. Check the box, include the SPBB. And again, though, I'm going to err on the side of caution, and I'm going to do a little Loom video that I'm going to send out to all the market centers. But as Frank said, the more you read, the more you read, the more you read, the more clear you become, the more power you have, the more willing you are to then go lead generate, develop more business, do better business, and have a better life.
That's awesome. All right, so Chris, if you can jump in the chat, I think a couple people had some questions in the chat. If you have a question on Zoom, just throw it in the chat. I'm going to have Chris answer that.
Yes.
We're going to keep moving along in the team meeting here. I appreciate the vibrance of the conversation around this. All right, let's go to the next slide, which is, who's the next person? Ooh, Tammy, is Tammy on? Tammy's not feeling good today, so she called me. She hasn't been feeling good for the last few days. So if you need some help or you want to talk about coaching, she is available. That's her contact information.
COVID is going.
I heard that. I don't really get sick, so like I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. So yeah, I know it's weird. I can't explain it, but yeah. So I hope she feels better. Realtor Rehab with Coach Tammy on a 12-step guide to implementing massive changes coming to the market. I like the rehab and the 12-step program analogy there, because like, you know, I feel like, you know, we're like a AA organization. Wednesday, August 28th, 11:30 to 12:30, right after the team meeting. I'm excited for that. So very cool. Hope everybody comes to that.
What's happening? I missed it.
Focus.
I was thinking about something else. I'm sorry.
Realtor Rehab with Coach Tammy. 12-step guide to implement massive changes coming to the market. Wednesday, August 28th.
I need to add something else. We were writing a contract yesterday.
Uh-huh.
That's why it's so.
Yep.
That's why they all need to practice.
Yep.
Just write up a contract, just like you said.
Yep.
Because I think all of those forms are already included in a contract.
Yeah.
You hear me? They
Yeah.
are already included, and if you don't put your percentage there, then.
Yeah. And you know what? And the thing is that we've talked ad nauseum about this, and there's been so much information out that somebody's still gonna miss it. So you really have to pay attention to it. So you're right. You're right. All right, we have Clearmark title updates. I know Jerry's on here because he gave me a comment on my dashing attire before we started. No, he's not here. No, he's not here. Oh, good. There we go. Well, Clearmark title, Jerry Ferris, if you need him. And then Old Republic, Gloria Navarro, if you need anything for home protection, that is the person to talk to. Is she on? Okay. She has a class next week, which is right here. Crest Marketing and Open Forum with Gloria Navarro. Learn how to promote your business using our free customizable marketing tools. There's a lot of marketing opportunities with these things, and you should definitely come to this and use it for marketing.
What time is it next week?
It is
11 to 12 next
11 to
Wednesday.
12
After.
next Wednesday.
Okay.
I will not be here next Wednesday. Mega camp for Keller Williams is next week, and I will be in Austin, Texas. And I'll be back on Thursday. Anybody going to Mega camp? Joe, when are you going to Mega camp again?
2028.
8?
He's waiting.
You could at least say 2025. I'm going, Tracy was asked to speak on stage with Gary Keller. And she's gonna be on stage. She got a little one sheet, which is a lot of these things that you're gonna be able to download off of KW Command. She's gonna be talking about farming. And she just got off she was on a Zoom call yesterday with Jay Papasan. I don't know if you're gonna, he's the one that wrote the one thing. And she's gonna be there on stage. I'm gonna take a lot of video and stuff and bring it back to share with you guys. But I'm super impressed and proud of her for this opportunity that she's being recognized by. So, yeah. My NHD, Kevin Palizzi, for all your NHD needs. We have a class on Wednesday, August 21st, 11:30 to 12:30, in person and on Zoom. Always good information. August 12th, Elite Westside Coaching canceled, and August 14th, team meeting canceled because I will be in Austin, Texas, doing all that kind of fun stuff. We have Westside Coaching. We will have that this Friday. Please come to that. I think we had a really good one last week. We talked a lot about the micro things that you need to do to actually get your business going. I'm gonna be putting that video up. In some of our stuff so everybody gets to see it. But if you have challenges, you have constraints, and you have action items that you need to work on, this is a great place to come. All right, so has everybody seen my photo, my real estate photo? Where I'm like leaning? Yeah?
Okay.
So I hate photos of myself. I hate them. I hate them. I don't know anybody that can take a good photo of me. I don't like any photos that have ever been taken of me. The only photo that I've ever liked that was taken of me was by these guys. These guys are probably the best photographers that I've ever seen in my 21 years in real estate, and I'm not exaggerating. I paid a lot of money for them to do photographs, and all of mine and Tracy's and all of our photographs are done by them. And I was super skeptical. I'm like, I'm paying this money and like, this is just gonna look like trash. And I was like, wow, like they made me look good. Like I was impressed. I was like, that's crazy. But if you look, Tracy's done a whole bunch of new photos and stuff. So all the new photos you see of her on social media or online or whatever, it's gonna be these guys. And so we talked, and they're gonna come in and they're gonna do a discussion about visual marketing, overcoming the pain points of branding yourself online, how to speak to your ideal clients and what they want to hear from you, how to ensure you are ready to commit to a visual marketing plan. If you don't think visual marketing is important, then you are missing the boat when it comes to social media. Photos and video are super, super, super important right now. These guys are the best that I've ever seen. When is it? I don't see
We're the
it.
28th.
The 28th. So they're gonna come to our team meeting on the 28th, and they're going to be here to talk about it. I'm telling you, like, when you look at photographs, they are top tier. Very good people, and this, like, the Lindsay, she knows her stuff. She knows her shit. Excuse my language. She knows, she's really good at what she does. So I want you guys to all, Brian and Lindsay, they're amazing. And I would not bring you somebody that I did not think was amazing, that hasn't done things for me personally. So they're not here to take photos for you, but they're here to give you information and help you with your branding and your marketing.
Do they do photos of personal?
Absolutely, absolutely. They are, anybody that's anybody in the San Fernando Valley and Santa Clarita Valley area, they have taken care of their photos and all of their stuff.
What I meant, do they do properties also?
It's not, no, it's more about personal branding. They may, that's not something I've seen them do. Yes, Tal, did you have a question? Oh,
Just wanted to.
28th, Wednesday, at the team meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. No, this is for you and your personal brand and to make you look good. Now, we all have that realtor picture that like we haven't redone in like 20 years. Come on, we all know we have that. We gotta get new ones out there, so they're really good.
How about they cannot do anything for you?
All right, bold. First step to bold, that is gonna happen on August, is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
first step tomorrow.
Free.
It's free. Guys, you gotta come to this, it's free. It's free. You should sign up. If you don't sign up, you should sign up just to make me look good, so there's a number there, like, let's be honest, I just need more people to be there. But honestly, it helps your business. All the people that won awards at our awards ceremony, like, they were there. They went to Bold. Joe went to, when Joe goes to Bold, you have no reason to not go to Bold.
Exactly.
Joe went there, he crushed it. Did he wanna be there? I don't know.
There was free food, by the way.
There was free food. There is free food. We're gonna feed you. I think we're gonna feed you. I think we're gonna feed you. But yeah, just come to the first step. Like, listen, you have an option, which is gonna be the second QR code to sign up for step 2, pay for the whole thing. If you don't like step 1, you don't have to sign up for step 2, but step 1 is free and it's gonna be a tremendous amount of information. So I really hope to see everybody there.
Step 2.
Hey, Frank, can I say something about Bold?
Absolutely.
So I was in another culture, real estate related for most of my career. And in 2017, 18, I began a discussion. And by the way, I'm in business with my son, Kyle, who's a broker as well. And my wife, Kelly, and that's been our arrangement for some time. So, I started talking with a team leader and an OP at a Keller Williams. One thing led to another, and they said, "Hey, you know what? We'd like to invite you to Bold." Now, I was at another company at the time that we went. My son, by the way, will be 32 next month. He's the father of 3 of our children. And I will just tell you that, so I've personally gone through Bold 3 times. And my son has gone through 2 or maybe 3 times. But I will tell you that if you go in as your coach invites you to do and go all in, it will change your life and your business for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be overly dramatic, and I'm not here to sell Bull, but I'm just telling you that autobiographically, for not just myself, but my entire family, including now my 9 grandchildren, the way we look at things, the conversation we have with our entire family, not to mention our businesses, anything we've accomplished, we have a lot of. There's a lot of credit to be given for Bold. So I would dive in head first and encourage you to get signed up, go to First Step and beyond.
Absolutely. So I have something special for you guys. So Richard Schulman is the #1 agent in Los Angeles for Keller Williams. He did something like 162 million in sales. The #2 person wasn't even close. So Richard is a powerhouse agent. He's been a powerhouse agent. He is a friend of this office and he knows a bunch of you. What I've talked to him about and what we've decided to do, that if you sign up for step 2 and pay for the whole thing, he will give you a one-on-one conversation with him. He will give you a one-on-one coaching conversation with him to where he will help you, talk to you, answer any of your questions. That is something that people would pay a lot of money for. And you guys have it basically it's for free, because if you sign up for step 2, you do the steps you do in Bold and you sell 2 houses, which you can in the next 12 months, I'm gonna pay you back. And the whole thing is gonna be free and you're gonna get this call with Richard. Like, to me, that's a no-brainer. You should absolutely do it. So that's the QR code. Let me know if you have any questions afterward. But I hope to see you there tomorrow. New listings, my favorite part. Whoa, sorry, we're both clicking. We're all click happy. So we have Nilu on Lincoln, lease for 3,200 tall, 1.499. Congratulations.
Take a picture of that. So I can
There you
show
go.
the client how good we.
Absolutely. Where did you find the client from?
A neighbor?
A neighbor.
Yes.
Shocker, like next door. I love it. I love it. How long have you been with us?
About a month.
About a month. No excuses, people. He's been here 30 days. He's already got 1.5 million going. I love it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We have Sean with a lease for $37.95 on Doheny. Shoku, 7,500, congratulations. Where did you find Greenbrier
Oh,
at?
it's the same, I put it for the sale, but it's the same, because needs also option.
Got it, so both.
Yeah.
Both. We have, Joe Soleimani on Beverville.
Same thing, it was for sale, now we also do produce.
That's the new strategy, if you cannot sell it, you put it for the.
That's a little scary though, people.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, that's scary.
Yeah.
Like, if I can't sell it, I'm just gonna rent it. And that's like, sellers will say that, but when they actually do it, like, that's a little, like, sell that.
Yeah.
So why is it scary?
Because you're giving them an option to not sell the property. And so now that instead of getting a sales commission, you're gonna get a rental commission and the property just doesn't sell. Our job here is to sell property. There's still a shortage. There's a lot of buyers out there. And I think what's gonna happen is that you're gonna get people that wanna sell it and wanna lease it. So they're gonna price it as high as they want and not negotiate price, because there is also like a catch of the lease, which is not always good either. So I just think when you have two options as realtors, we really want the one option, the buy or sell option, not the lease option, so. Shoku on Century Park again for 4,500. Where did you find that client? Same?
The same, yeah. Lease and
That's fun, yay. Congratulations. David Israeli, 3,200 on Cardiff. Shoku again on Hatteras for 2,450. You went to the Valley?
yeah, it's in Hartford, in Arizona.
Nice.
Yeah, that one is just for them. Actually, I put it last night and I have two applications today.
That looks cute for 2,450. That feels like a good deal.
Yeah. I
Is
changed
it a condo?
the conduit to the.
Nice. Barrington for Alper on, for 2,495. Where did Alper get that one? Sphere of influence. All right. Undefeated. People, sphere of influence is undefeated. Closings. My second most fun part. Lena Semagolina, 4,550 on Texas Avenue. Joe, Alper, and Glenn, the Three Musketeers. 25th Street, 4,100.
That was a referral from someone that proposed their leads and they referred that to us.
There you go.
He was not able to use it by himself and less than 2 weeks, we rented that.
He couldn't do it by himself. That's a shocker.
Well, actually had a broker. So he found his broker and came with us.
There you go. Came to the Three Musketeers to make it happen. Love it. Parnian, 811,000 on Federal Avenue. Congratulations, Parnian. Is Parnian on here? Parnian, congratulations on that. Okay, congratulations, Parnian. Joan Fields Evans on Wilshire Boulevard, 1412, lease for 4,100. Congratulations, Joan, on that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
You are welcome. You are welcome. All right, what do we have now? Let's talk about the market. The market's wonky, right? How do you guys feel about the market? I got to give you some stats about this market. I'm not super excited about the market. I have not heard good things about the market, and a lot of people are struggling, and that's hence what this 47% is. 47% of all agents in the United States out of 1.5 million have done 0 deals. I think it's mostly because of a lack of effort, action, whatever you want to call it. But I was coming along these statistics and I saw this. More than half of American renters who want to buy a home fear they can never afford one. So would like, but can't afford it, 86%. 86% of renters think they can't afford it. They think. So hold on, the wording's really important here. They think. Could afford, but don't want to. 13% can do it, they don't want to. That is, so both of these numbers in my mind are BS. For the simple fact that this means that there's a limiting belief on what is actually possible. Does that make sense? So when you have 13% say they could afford to buy a home, but they don't want it, my question is, why don't they want it? There's a limiting belief around what is possible and why do you not want to buy a house? Because interest rates is a great excuse. Interest rates are so high. Oh my God, they're 7%, they're 8%, blah, blah, blah. Well, the interest rate on renting is 100%. Like you're not getting any equity, you're not getting anything. And there's a conversation about why buying a home is better. And if you look at the numbers financially, historically, it almost doesn't make sense to not buy a home if you can afford it. If you can afford it. The reason 2008 happened is that a whole bunch of people that bought homes, they couldn't afford it. They were told they could afford it. They were lied to. And subsequently, we had that market fall apart. But now you have 86% would like a home but can't afford it. But if you got to look at the wording, because the news, the media are all out there for entertainment purposes and to make us afraid. And the wording's right here. More than half of American renters who want to buy a home fear they can never afford one. Well, they fear that because nobody's talking to them. They're not having enough conversations. We collectively, as an industry, are not having enough conversations with the people out there that are renting so that they feel comfortable and they don't fear. Does that make sense? The word fear comes in because you don't have enough information. You don't feel like you're fully prepared. So I think I've always said that one of the biggest opportunities in real estate is the renting populace, because so many people rent, so many people have a misconceived notion of what it takes to buy. They don't understand that you don't need 20 to 30%. Sometimes there's opportunities below the 20% down. And even if it is 20% down, you can save 20% in almost any market. Because if you can afford to pay $5,000, $11,000 a month, you can figure out how to buy something. It's literally a checks and balances issue. They just don't have that support. A lot of renters don't have that support. There's a limiting belief on what was possible. It all comes down to us having conversations with people. And I would ask you, how many people in your database do you know if they actually rent or do they own? A lot of us probably don't know that. So I would say go through, find out who rents and find out who owns. Ask them if they've seen this. This was literally like last week. So this is really important to me because there's just a lot of misinformation out there. So the next thing is more than half of American renters who want to buy a home fear they can never afford one. Very or somewhat likely, say 46%, not too likely 54%. This comes back to what I'm talking about. It's perception. And this is, in my opinion, this is fear mongering. This is trying to tell people that the housing market is not good. Like, that's not true. The housing market is amazing. We have a lack of inventory. We have abundance of buyers. And a lot of your buying population are renting homes right now. And it's clear based on these two statistics that we've been looking at that they don't have enough information to make the right decisions. The only people they're going to get information from are you as a massive populace. And if we look at 47% of all agents out there, so zero homes, they're not talking to enough people. You're not talking to people, giving them the information. You have to go get educated first, and then you have to take that education and spread it amongst all the people that you know. And then answer these questions to help these people out that are answering these crazy surveys that they put up.
Frank, if you see that it says eventually, I mean, it's very misleading the way they are.
100%. And it's intentionally done that way. Yes.
You know, number one issue, if I randomly pick on any agent here and I ask him, hey, how you would combat or how would you approach a renter and which angles would you go at? Probably, I can say most agents would fail.
Yeah.
And just as you mentioned, they need to first educate themselves about different loan programs, tax shelters, tax benefits, the principal part of it, and many other things, on and on. So once they can educate themselves and know to approach it, I think that's where you can convert a tenant, a renter, into a home buyer.
There is not, and I will tell you this, there is not one person who rents that I could not have a conversation with that I could convince them that buying a house is better. There's not one person on this planet. It's a super easy conversation. It's super easy. Because first of all, if anybody has a savings account, if anybody has a 401k, if anyone has a stock portfolio, if anybody has anything in anything financial other than housing, my question would be why? And then I would just show them the difference. Like you're, okay, you're gonna put $1,000 in the stock market, that's fantastic. You're gonna get 10%, so you're gonna make $100 in a year. That's an amazing return. Right? That's the math. 10% on 1,000 is 100 in 12 months. If you take 10% of 2 million, which is $200,000, you're gonna get equity on 2 million, not the 200,000. That's basic math. That's how equity works. There is nothing saying that prices are coming down, because prices are not coming down, because there's still a massive housing shortage. And let me prove this to you. Build to rent homes are at an all-time high, according to Rent Cafe's analysis of Yardi's matrix, that they are building properties. When you say they're not building, they're building. They're just not building homes to buy. They're building things to rent. This comes back to my BlackRock conspiracy theory that I have that, like I said, we could have an hour class on. They're building things to rent because they want to turn us into a nation of renters. The facts are out there. There is no incentive for builders to build homes for us to buy. It is not that great. A typical starter home is worth at least 1 million in 237 cities, the most ever according to a new finding published by Zillow. So if I said, listen, if you give me $200,000 and I could get you a return on that 200,000, 5% based on 1 million, would you do that deal? That's what a house is. Typically in California, in Los Angeles, your equity return is about 5% year over year. Some days it's better, some days it's some years it's better, some years it's not. But you're getting a percentage return on 1 million, not on the 200,000 you put in. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. And there's a lot of people out there renting for what they could be paying for $1 million mortgage. And so you just have to figure out how to have that conversation with people. And you have that conversation by asking questions. You just ask, why are you renting? Would you ever consider to buy? Why? You find out what, a lot of people are like, well, my credit's bad. That's an easy solution. That's an easy solution. I can't afford it. Why can't you afford it? Like, you have to ask questions. But these statistics are insane. And it all comes back to one thing, and that is us not having enough conversations with the people we know to educate them. We're letting the media educate people. When you let the media educate people, they start manipulating you to do the things that they want you to do. Yes, sir.
Frank, I have somebody whose credit is really bad.
Yep.
How can I talk to them?
Get them in front of a credit repair person to figure out what the problem is. A lot of times you just have to. So if somebody has a lot of outstanding debt and really bad credit, you go to a credit repair thing, they give you a loan that consolidates all of that stuff into one payment. And now that stuff will go away in like 3 to 6 months. There's ways to jump your credit score by hundreds of points by doing little things. And there's tons of companies out there that are legit that do it. Trust me, I came from a divorce that massively devastated my credit, and I fixed it. It's not hard. It just takes work and discipline, just like anything. So yeah, you just have to do, I mean, literally, Google University can fix that for you. YouTube University can fix that for you. So questions or thoughts on this? Does anybody disagree? Yes.
There is a good old formula in real estate, which is cash on cash return.
Yeah.
When you're saying that you put $200,000 and you build up equity, in reality, cash on cash is much better number, just for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know anybody that's invested in real estate and held on to it long term that's actually lost unless they did something crazy. It happens. I mean, it happens. Nothing's ever 100%. But to be a millionaire in today's world, they're being built in real estate every day. If you want to be a billionaire, that's a different conversation. But all right, questions or thoughts? All right, needs and wants. Let's wrap this up. Needs and wants. What do we have coming up? Buyers, sellers? Do we have any buyers? Yes, sir. What do you got?
I need, obviously, I have a lot of people looking for off market.
Yep.
Anybody who has an off market in, the West LA or San Fernando Valley, worth around 2 million off market.
So if I had a buyer that wants things off market in a specific area, I would go to title. I would get a list of the areas. I would get like a square block of like 500 numbers, names. I would either call them and door knock and say, hey, I have a buyer. If you could get the price you want for your house, would you sell it? Like, I would just go through and call. Cause $2 million is, what's the commission on 2 million? Is that 60,000? 60,000. So literally, would you call until you die or for a year to get $60,000? Would you call every day for $60,000?
I would die for that.
There you go. There you go. Not everybody would. Shoku's like, no, I'm good. I don't need to die for that. But see, this is the thing, is that you have $60,000 in a commission hanging out right now. And so all you really need to do, because off market is literally every property that's around us, because everything has a price. Right? Everybody has a price. Every house out there for sale has a price. So you just have to call people and say, hey, I have a buyer for this neighborhood. If you could get your price, would you sell your house? And if somebody goes, no, I go, well, what's your price? Like, what's your price? $5 million. Because I'll tell you this, there's people in the San Fernando Valley, when it was $500,000, the average sale price said, oh, I want $1 million. Well, it's $1 million today, people. It's $1 million today. So everybody has a price. That person's probably 2 million now, but let's be honest. But that's what I would do. I would say, hey, what's your prime area in all the places, what's your prime area? And then take 5 different areas, get all the names and numbers of all that, call as many people you can, and then everybody you couldn't get a hold of on the phone, go door knock those houses. 60 grand, like you need just a couple of those a year to like be really good. Anybody else, needs and wants? Yes, sir.
Between me and Neil, we have a house in Beverly Hills off market, 5-bedroom, about 4,500 square feet, very good house.
I feel like that's more than $2
Modern
million.
and nice, only for 4.7.
4.7. Get your guy to come up to 4.7. That's the other way he makes a sale. He's like, listen, 2 million is great, but 4.7 is better. Look at that house.
So, it's, what was the description again?
What's the description again?
It's above 2 million.
It's above.
I know, but I'm telling him to go get his 2 million guy to go to 4.7. Joe, what's the description of that house again? How many bedrooms? 4 bedrooms?
5-bedroom pool, remote, really nice home. You know what? I was surprised when I got in there, and I thought I was gonna see it. It was the 2010 build. So, and then it's nicely designed. So I was very happy with the kitchen was open. Really, really desirable floor plan.
If somebody tells you a price and they go, I want off market, you bring them literally everything off market. That's the strategy there. If somebody says, oh, I want $1 million in San Fernando Valley, you bring them everything for $1 million everywhere. When an online lead calls me and they're like, and they fill out a thing that says, oh yeah, I'm looking for 1.2 million in Tarzana. I call them and the first thing I say, hey, I saw that you're looking for 1.2 million in Tarzana. Is your dream city Tarzana, or would you be open to something that meets your criteria that's somewhere else? What are they gonna say? Oh, no, I take Reseda, I take Encino, I take blah, blah, there's another city. So the thing is that when a client tells you something, that's not in stone. You need to think outside of the box. Like, I'm like, listen, hey, there ain't a lot of off-market things out there. I just found a 4.7 for you off market. It's probably a deal. You should probably take a look at it. And then what you'll do is you'll find out if he's really interested or why he's really stuck at 2 million. Anybody else? Needs and wants. I need more needs and wants. Come on, people. Going once, going twice. All right, guys, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it.
One other thing I would add, last time you guys felt the earthquake.
Yes, it was in Bakersfield.
How many of you tried calling your clients